Welcome to Outside the Ring. I am here with my guest, Big Rookie.
Hello, folks.
So I'll start by asking, what got you into the sport of wrestling?
Uh, I was about 3 years old, 1976, and my uncle pulled my brother and I pulled us away from whatever babyish things we were doing and said he wanted us to watch wrestling, and it was big time wrestling, AWWL, Old Territories, run by Ed Farhat Sr., the Sheik, and we saw Andre the Giant, Haystacks Calhoun, and superstar Billy Graham, and uh Sailor Ed White, you know, Jumping Jim, and all these guys, and I was hooked ever since.
How did you come up or how did you get the ring name of Big Rookie?
Oh man, I stole that from a friend. Well, I was at University of Michigan, and I graduated. And for you young folks who are in school, school creates a social structure for you. So there's something to do, something to do. If you go to college, there's something to do, something to do. If you go to trade school, there's something to do, something to do. But if you just stop, you start working, all of a sudden you're like, I ain't got nothing to do. So I used to go to the indie shows. Started going to the indie shows in late '93 with a friend of mine, Big Rob, rest in peace. And I was at an indie show with him, and we were watching. It's Cactus Jack. What do you call him? Mankind. What's his name? Mick Foley.
McFoley.
Yeah, but he was born under the Cactus Jack moniker, and it was right before he went to the WWF at the time. And it was run by, if you've heard of Malcolm Monroe, so uh, the people around here call who we call Little Malcolm Big Malcolm, but Big Malcolm was his father. So Big Malcolm to me was his father. So we were at a show by Big Malcolm, and I met Johnny Rodriguez, Johnny Rods out of New York, and we met Mick Foley. And I was like, you know what, become a wrestler. So I graduated in '95, and I was just kind of sitting around bored. Had a job I hated, and yeah, job I hated. And at that time, by that time, I knew Machine Gun Mike Kelly, Al Snow. I'd met Jim Cornette. I didn't care for Jim Cornette, but I met Jim Cornette. And for some reason, it just seemed, I don't even know how. I just ended up in these circles with these guys. I'm sitting here eating them, eating with Big Rob. I mean, Rob's like, hey, me and some friends, we're going out to eat, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I think I know how. So my older brother, who you met, what does he call himself now? Superman Lover. But his teacher in high school was a guy named Chris Avisa, who started promoting and managing on local shows. So I knew Mr. Zavisa just going up to my brother's high school periodically. And I really think that's how we ended up sitting because Zavisa was cool with a lot of these guys. So I'm sitting in like, there's, I don't know, Sandman. Um, who else did we meet, man? Old Denny Cash from the Kangaroos. Uh, these are guys from the '60s and '70s. With Sandman was from ECW. Sitting there with Axel and Ian Rotten. Um, let's see who else. Hacksaw Dugan. These guys were just there, and I didn't. It wasn't like I was plotting and planning anything. I was just kind of like just stumbled onto it, and it's like I'm gonna do this. So we asked around, and we found out that so we wanted Mike to train us. That's one big mistake. A lot of guys they meet a wrestler and say, "I like you. I want you to train me," but they don't understand that most wrestlers don't have a $5,000 to $10,000 ring set up in a building somewhere where they can just train somebody. And we uh we ended my I was like, okay, I'm gonna go over here, right across the bridge. If you're in Detroit, you go across the Ambassador Bridge. We went like a mile and a half down on Ouellette Street. Ouellette. I don't speak French. I think Ouellette. And on the right, there was a little garage that was owned by the father. of a man named Scott Demore, and Scott owned the gym, and we were trained there by Duck. Well, Chuck and I we went. Yeah, getting into the business wasn't as easy as it is now. Now you just show up, you have $2,000, you give it away, you get trained. Back then, we bumped. Oh God, we bumped for hours straight. They concussed us 3 weeks straight before they gave us the okay to train. And um, so Doug Chevalier started training us. Then Doug, I guess he had a falling out with Scott. He disappeared. Irish Mickey Doyle, who was the NWA Rookie of the Year in 1971 or two, he took over training us. And periodically, so Scott had only been in the business a year prior to that, but he come over and worked with us as well. So we were pretty started by Doug, but we were trained by Mickey Doyle and Scott Demore. And that's how we got in the business.
How long have you been wrestling for?
28 years. Yeah, man. 28 long years. I don't regret. The only thing I regret is not making enough money to what's the name? Not making enough money to support my family on it. And we got some cool stories, but that don't pay the bills. But, you know, um I don't have I don't have any regrets. Because in the end, you don't have anything left other than stories people tell you about. The stories that folks tell about you. Nobody cares about how much money you made. Nobody cares. Well, only your family cares how much money you made. But people don't care about how much money you made. They just care about how nice you were. And sometimes, I'll be honest, man, I'm just a person. Sometimes I forget to be nice. I'm not. I'm not gonna lie, but sometimes I have to remember. It's. My wife always says it's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. Not that I'm important. I see myself, but as a teacher, I got to remind myself to be nice to folks and not jump to conclusions and blah blah blah. And the problem is, though, in wrestling, you got to jump to conclusions. You really got to jump to conclusions because there are enough people in this business who will try to bully you and steal from you if you don't make a snap decision like that when you're dealing with them.
Where did you start wrestling at? Like, what promotion did you start working for first?
The very first one was called Great Lakes Wrestling. It was run by Mike Kelly. Mike Kelly was a big guy, about 6'4", 280 pounds. He looked like Hacksaw Jim Dugan's twin brother, and that is the reason why he did not get signed. Because McMahon, they were called the Machine. What's the tag team that Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley? What do they call themselves? The Motor City Machine Guns?
Yeah, I'm pretty
They
sure.
weren't the yeah, they weren't the first. They took the name, but they were not the first. The original ones were Mike Kelly and Al Snow. And McMahon it was willing to hire Snow. Now you're talking about the mid '80s. He was mid to late '80s. He was willing to hire Snow, but he just looked at Mike Kelly as a hacksaw ripoff. And Mike Kelly was by no stretch of the imagination trying to be a hacksaw ripoff. And other than being this really big, burly, reddish, strawberry blonde guy, they didn't look alike. I mean, they did not look alike. They did. You ever watch Game of Thrones?
No,
Oh, well, the dude that played Ned Stark, matter of fact, you ever see Percy Jackson?
no.
Oh, man, you never seen Percy Jackson. Well, the dude that played Percy's father, the actor, he looked just like Sean Bean. He was a spitting twin of Sean Bean. But it's just that he was this big, burly, offensive lineman, nose tackle built, 6'4" legit 6'4", 280 pound dude. And so he just kind of never got signed. Then he got married, they adopted a couple kids, and you got to be stable when you have children. So I think and the years slipped by, and he just knew he wasn't getting signed. So I think he just kind of gave up on it.
How did you hear about LPW down in Fremont? Did Chuck bring you down? Or
No, yeah, no, man, not even remotely. No, I didn't hear about it from my brother. I heard about it from Tim. 2000 and what was it? Early 2010. It was early spring 2010. Remember the dude I told you about, the Sheik? Have you heard of the Sheik? Not the
Yes.
Iron Sheik, the original Sheik. So his son, Ed Farhat Jr., who worked as Sailor Ed, he kept AWWL going. And he uh he did it old school style. Now the old ways work. The old ways work. Old style wrestling does not appeal to current fans, but old style booking works 2,000,000%. And he he was throwing shows like he'd come and do all these because he was on TV throughout the state at the time. Detroit was too expensive for him to get in this market, but he was on TV throughout the state, and he was doing a TV taping. So he show up and he says, "Hey man, cut an interview right now." What? So I'm like, "Cut an interview." And I had a friend, guy I used to bounce with, real big guy. James is like 6'5" and about 400 pounds, and because he was new at bouncing, he used to call him the big rookie. So he didn't like that name. Ah, I hate that name. I hate that name. And I was like, James, you mind if I take it? He said, nah. So I took it. So I called myself the big rookie. I was a dirty cop because like the big boss man. So the big boss man was one of my favorites. And well, it's too late to meet him, but he was one of the nicest guys I've ever met in the business. And so we showed up. I cut this interview. He says, all right, I need you to go out and do a 25 minutes match right now with who? Tim Horner, Tim Horner Jr. I'm like, where is this guy? I never met him. He's right there. And we looked at each other and we called it in the ring for 25 minutes. And that's how I got down to LPW because I knew Tim. I known Tim for years. We did a WWE tryout together. Me, Tim, and Whip Dog. We went down to Florida back in 2010. And um yeah. We you couldn't have told me they weren't going to sign Whip, but instead of signing Whip, Dusty Rhodes stole his gimmick, tried to give it to Jack Swagger, and Jack Swagger proceeded to screw it up. So, yep,
Do you have a list of favorite matches that you have fought in?
no, no. After 28 years, man, I've been in so many matches. I don't have any particular. You know what? I have a list, but there are certain opponents I really love to face. So there was a tag team called the Outlaws. Dave St. Ange and Woody Lee. And Woody was legit, was as they say, shoot, but he was legit Dave's father-in-law. Woody had been in the business first, and they met. Well, they met wrestling down in Ohio. Down in wait. Al Snow was from what part of Ohio is that? Where the sugar Lima. They were down in wrestling in Lima, Ohio. That's where they met. He and Dave met Woody's daughter, blah, blah, blah. But we wrestled those guys so many times. And Dave is the one who taught Chuck how to be a ring general. As a matter of fact, all the stuff you see, all the heel stuff you see Chuck do, you can Dave St. Ange is just the guy who taught Chuck how to put it all together and make himself hate it. Woody 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 paired off with me. And you wouldn't, people looked at us because you see two two black kids from inner city Detroit and two dudes with Dixie flags on their chest, and you think we hate each other. But that was the furthest because Woody was like Yoda to me. So Woody would pull me to the side. So here I am, 6'2" and 21-inch arms. And Woody was about the same size as Ric Flair, about 5'9", probably about 200, 210 pounds. And we'd pair off and Woody do all the dirty, cheap stuff and stomp me on the foot, stomp me on the other foot, and knock me down. And the crowd would pop for it and so on and so forth. But they taught us how to work a match. They taught us the psychology of working a match. They taught us the psychology of working a match. These guys come into business and they try to wrestle. They're not wrestling. If you want to see wrestling, you go to the Olympics, you go to the UFC, you go to wherever, Pride, whatever. That's where you see wrestling. Sports entertainment is not wrestling. It's wrestling adjacent, but it's not wrestling. So they taught us to when to back off a move and when to sell to the crowd. They taught us when to ignore the crowd and go for the move. Because if you listen to the crowd, it'll all just be jumping off top ropes head first into the floor. But at the same time, when the crowd pops to something you do it again and again. That's why a lot of these guys now they get in the ring and they start and they say, okay, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and they go, 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 go. And if something goes wrong, you see it in the ring. They're trying to figure it out. And however they recover, it really ain't clean or good. And if you got trained, matter of fact, not just if you got trained, if let me say, if Tiger or Tim, if the great Tiger or Tim or what's the name, the great Akuma or my brother or Whip or I or one of these or Dave St. Ides or a laundry list of other guys I can think of, Nate Matson, if one of us trained you, we would teach you how to call it in the ring. And by calling in the ring, you would learn how to watch the crowd, what they're going for. Because if you're busy doing spot after spot after spot after spot, the big payoff is going to be a big boom, a big bump. That's how you tear your body up. So that's how you end up 30 in a wheelchair, as opposed to being Ric Flair, being 75, thinking, do I want to get back in the ring?
Who would you say?
But
Oh,
to answer your question, I can name five favorite opponents, but not five favorite matches because I've been in a lot of matches. I've been in a ring with a lot of people, and um, you know what? Some of the most memorable ones, well, the most memorable match we have was when we did a Detroit early on. We weren't in the business not even a year. We did a Detroit street fight, which is basically no holds barred match against two dudes that you currently call um um what's the name Adam Copeland and Christian. So yeah, that was fun. And Adam and Jay, his real name is Jay. Adam and Jay are cool. I'm cooler with Adam than Jay, but cool enough where Adam, if we were standing there, Adam saw me, he'd stop. Cole, brother, what's going on? And stop and talk, give me a hug, and kick it. But yeah, that's probably the most memorable match.
who would you say are some of your toughest opponents?
The fans, the fans, man, getting these people off their damn asses to jump up and cheer. That's my toughest opponent. Now, what you all may consider tough ain't what I'm not gonna kayfabe you. I'm like, oh my God, my toughest opponent because he almost beat me. No, I'm gonna tell you, my toughest opponent was a guy named Phil Monahan. And it wasn't because he was tough, because Phil was stupid. He was stupid. He was stupid, stupid. And I don't mean because he got bad grades in school. He was stupid because he would make these dumbass decisions in the middle of the ring. It's like we were wrestling, right? And Phil's whole gimmick was supposed to be they were trying to, at first, they wanted to be um, demolition, demolition 2000, what they call themselves. Then when the Undertaker became the American badass, he and his partner Bounty tried to be the American badasses. And that's okay. So if you come and you say, hey, I'm Maverick, and what's your gimmick, Maverick? Well, I'm a zombie and I get back up. No matter what you do, I'm going to get back up. Okay, cool. We're going to do that. That's what we're working with because that's your gimmick. Now, my brother was working over field, working over field, working over field. He tags me. I get in the ring. I go for a leg drop. Phil tries to no sell my leg drop. The problem with it is the dummy didn't take the leg drop. He tried to pop up. Phil was 6 foot 3.5 inches, 280 pounds. He wasn't agile and he wasn't fast. So he's trying to roll over. My foot clips his knee. Why'd you hurt me? Fool, why did you move? Come back 2 months later. Oh, my knee, you hurt my knee. Hey, man, why'd you move, idiot? So he come back 2 months later. He tries the same thing. I'm going for an elbow smash. He tries to pop up. He moves. You hit my arm. Look, fool. I'm giving you 4 elbow smashes this match alone. I'm going for the fifth one, and you move and you hurt yourself. So it was. Oh God, he was he was a horrible wrestler, a horrible wrestler because he wasn't smart. He just wasn't smart. You don't change shit in the middle of a match without. If you're gonna change it, hey, you grab a rest hold and tell somebody. That's what we call it in the ring. He didn't call it. He just did stuff and it didn't work. He got himself hurt. I ended up breaking his nose, punched him in the nose. You know who Kerry Von Erich is?
I've heard of him.
So this Friday, go see go see the movie about the Von Erich family in the old territories, world class championship wrestling. You got to see it. Was it Iron Claw? That's what it's called. So Kerry Von Erich did a discus punch, which is basically, like the big shows knockout. He would spin around 2 or 3 times and do it. So we had a spot. He's supposed to go over the ring, over the ring, over the ring, over the ring, and then out. So Chuck hits Nick, Phil hits Chuck, I hit Phil. Jay got they call him Jay Adams, Eddie Venom. Jay, 6'8", 300 pounds, gives me a big boot. I go out. Mike Kelly gives Jay whatever he gives him and pins him. The problem is Nick went out with one hit. Chuck went out with one hit. Phil is too busy wanting to beat the toughest guy in the ring. So you're gonna have to hit me repeatedly. And I said, Phil, just go. He said, what you gonna do? I said, I'm going for a discus punch. Just go over the rope. And he didn't go. And I'm like, it felt funny when I threw it. And I connected. I broke his nose because like he slumped over the rope. Oh, I went in the back and when it was all done, because when I saw that size 16 foot coming towards my face, you know what I did? I went over the rope. I didn't plant my feet and just get my face broken. So I went in the back and there's blood going back there. I'm like, Chuck, where the hell all this blood come from? So we got back there and Phil's laying there, and I'm like, did I break your nose? Yeah. Said you should have went over the rope. I've been trained in various martial arts, just boxing, judo, just that, so on and so forth. So it's not like hitting him, I didn't feel it because I used to be a bouncer as well. So I know how to use my hands. And if you're throwing a clothesline and the guy's supposed to duck, you're supposed to throw a nasty clothesline. So like if I connect with you, you're gonna get hurt type clothesline. Why? Because the spot is for the guy to duck. If you stand there and you just throw it, it looks bad. So you want to entertain. So you throw it. You throw it like you're trying to strike a dude out. Second strike, 2 outs down, seventh game of the World Series. So I threw the punch. All he had to do was go over the rope. And Phil put the bad mouth, the cold brother, because I used to be called Stone. Stone hurts people. No, fool, you hurt people. You're dangerous to work with. A lot of folks like that, man. And yeah, Phil was not. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Yeah. So like I say, he put the bad mouth, and I was called Stone. Stone. I was Stone of the Cold Brothers, and I was Stone Cold when Steve Austin was still the ringmaster. But it's not like Steve Austin stole it from me because we didn't know each other. But he got signed, and there was a movie called Stone Cold about with Brian Bosworth in it, and Steve Austin was a big fan, and he liked the name, and he took the name, and I was a fan of it. I'm like, so I just changed my name to Frost Cold. It didn't stick, and we just called ourselves the Cold Brothers, and people would just say, Cold Brother, the Cold Brother, whatever. And yeah, and the rest eventually, when I moved back from Los Angeles, he asked us if we wanted to tag. My brother had gotten comfortable working singles. And I started the big rookie gimmick, and I've been big rookie since 2010.
Who is someone you'd want to have a match with in the future?
Hmm. Uh, Somebody I'd like to have a match with in the future. I would like to wrestle. I would like to get in the ring with. Let me think. Let me think. Let me think. Um, I would say I don't know. Let me think. God, that's a good one. I'm really trying to go through the WWE and think. Damian Priest. Yeah, I like to work in the big man's match with Damian Priest. I mean, of course, he'd squash the shit out of me because I'm not a name. But if we were of equal footing, I'd like to wrestle Damian Priest.
That'd
Let
be
me
good.
ask you questions. I see it says the Woken Gamer. You what's your favorite game, man? What's
I play a bunch of like WWE games.
okay. I'm a Skyrim addict, so I'm just asking. So
I haven't played Skyrim before.
yeah. Strange thing with wrestling is when you do it enough, people like, you play the game? No. Oh God. Because it's just something I do it so much that I don't. My son's playing, but I don't.
You told me that you and your brother, I think you said had dinner one time with
Vince McMahon and the Under was lunch with Vince McMahon and Undertaker. Or
lunch
you talking about
with Randy and Taker.
no, no, not Randy. It was Vince McMahon. I threatened to beat up Randy Orton.
Oh,
We had we had dinner with Viscera, Big Daddy V, however you remember him, Viscera, Mark Henry, and what's his name? Oh God, Elijah Polk, and God, he stayed. Oh God, MVP was there, and we just hung out with them for about 2 days in Pennsylvania, and we got along like friends, man. Viscera was one of the nicest guys, but Randy Orton's a bully, man, and I don't like bullies because I'm a nerd. Don't let the weightlifting fool you. My brother was the captain of every other team. He was the guy with the six pack in high school. He was the tough guy, and every girl wanted him, and blah blah blah. Now I was big, and I lifted weights, and I practiced martial arts. But back when I was a kid, telling people you like comic books and watch cartoons and foreign animation. And I say foreign animation because it wasn't called anime at the time. It's called Japanimation because the American distribution company that had the rights to distribute these videos is called Japanimation. So that's what we referred to it as until they corrected us and called it anime. But saying that stuff, wearing a Batman shirt in school, I've been a fight. People would try to fight you. So there there were some times that people tried, and my brother has a quick temper. Well, I got a quick mouth. My brother has a quick temper. And but by the time I got to be a 10th, 11th grader, the bullies who tried to pick on my friends, I picked on the bullies. So I chased the bullies off. Randy Orton is a bully. And Randy Orton tried to get Umaga to hit me. And Umaga looked at him and was like, man, I ain't getting in the middle of this shit. So, Randy Orton, I was like, hold on, hit me, motherfucker. And Chuck was like, no, 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 we're gonna mess up our. And I was like, no, whoop his ass. So, okay, I just tell you a story. So we are backstage and it's in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. And I'm watching the match. I had never seen the Boogeyman wrestle Mark Henry. So I'm like, and I like Boogie's gimmick. I really did. Because I'm a child of the 70s and 80s. I like the old gimmick stuff. And I'm fascinated. I'm watching it. We just kind of standing around. And I wasn't paying any mind. So I hear in the back, you ever heard of Maven?
I have.
So Maven was the first winner of Tough Enough. And people said I look like Maven, which I don't look like Maven, but because I was flawed and fair complected, they kept calling me Maven. So Viscera was like, hey Maven. So I'm like, Maven. I said, why you gonna play me like that? We just laughing. So when Viscera first got in WWF, he was called Mabel. And he used to wear these big bright ass hammer pants. And I was like, all right, Mabel. And I was like, oh, and I'm like, man, okay, I'm just joking with you. It was all love. It was all good. So I went back to watching the match. So I guess Randy is calling. Randy was sitting there with Masterpiece, Kevin Masterson, and or Kevin Masters, excuse me. And they're sitting here calling me, and I was like, and Chuck was watching, but Chuck was watching the room. So he says, "Hey, Umaga, hit him in the back of the head. He's disrespecting me." And I'm like, "Hit somebody? Who?" I'm looking around. He said, "Hit him in the back of the head." And I was like, I looked at Umaga. Umaga looked at him and looked at me. He's like, "Man, I'm not in the middle of your shit. You hit him in the back of the head." Now, Edge, Adam, who knew us, he was like, Randy, you better leave these guys alone. They've been around the business. They're good guys. They're respectful. They know the business better than you. They've been around longer than you. Don't do this. And Randy is like, yeah, whatever. What are they going to do? I start walking towards him. Edge is like, if you get your ass kicked, that's on you. So he backed away. And people, no, 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 no. Chuck's grabbing me. And I was like, I'm just going to whoop his ass real quick. We good. And Randy's looking all flustered. And Masterpiece says something like, "Man, shut the fuck up, you next." So and they backed off. And I was like, fuck is this about? Motherfucker hit, fuck you, man. Fuck you. You don't know me. Walk over and speak to me like a normal fucking person. And that's one thing about this business. People lead with this, oh, I'm important. I'm a main eventer. Now, can I be me or do I have to watch my language on this?
You can be you.
All right, so look, man, fuck this business. These people come tell you, oh, I can make or break you. They fucking can't make or break you. If somebody can make or break you, make you or break your career, that's nice. And that means they got money and power. I'm supposed to be intimidated and scared and oh my revering your checkbook. I'm supposed to allow you to fuck with me because you got a lot of money. How does that work? Nah, I'm from I'm old enough to be a father, and where I'm from, you see in movies and shit. Where Chuck and I grew up, it wasn't the greatest place. Well, we come from a place people got murdered and shit was fucked up. It wasn't ugly. It was just dangerous as shit. So you're not looking at somebody like, oh my God, you have more money than me. I should let you pick on me. No, that's your blessing in life. You got a dream job. He was about to get arrested, because he went AWOL in the Marines. So he was about to get arrested. The only thing saved him was his daddy was Cowboy Bob. All these guys like, oh yeah, I love your father, blah blah blah. So Cowboy Bob managed to get his punk ass from out of the grasp of a military court, and he begged Vince to just give his son a job doing anything. It was just coincidental. Randy Orton is a legit 6'3.5" and got a square jaw and movie star looks. So Vince decided to have him trained. So his first real job outside of getting kicked out of boot camp was being WWE talent. So this dude really thought that these some of these people really think that they can bully people. They really try to act like bullies because they made it. Now, I'm gonna tell you something, young dude. There's a saying. You don't fuck with a poor man or a happy man. Because a poor man, not a rich man, but a happy man. Because a poor man has nothing to lose, and a happy man has everything to lose, and they'll hurt you. So, uh, Randy tried it. Nah, he backed off. Booker T was laughing. He was like, Randy, they was about to kick your ass. You was gonna get your ass beat. And we were just like, yeah, it's gonna happen. So, I was really thinking I should have whooped his ass because Chuck and I would have got signed instantly by Impact. TNA. We got instantly signed by TNA. But that's nonetheless. Uh so 2 years later, I'm in Los Angeles. Me and my wife and my sons, we moved to LA. And I did a dart match. Um, it's a story on how the dart match even came about. I did a dart match and I confronted Randy Orton one on one, looked him straight in the eyes, asked him what he wanted to do. I apologize. Motherfucker, fuck you, man. I was like, all right, whatever. As long as you understand that right here by myself, me and you, no witnesses, no nothing, usually it's your ass kicked. It's like, don't fucking play with me. Dude, another fucking locker room bully. I know a lot of people love him, but as a fan of this shit, I got to tell you, the people you see and want to hype up and be proud, be like glad to see because the characters are so great. Some of them ain't so good when you deal with them behind the character. So CM Punk, great character. Phil, fuck Phil, fuck that guy. He's tried his damnedest to be a locker room bully, and he actually walked up on me like he was gonna shoot on me, and I met Phil. God, a few years earlier. There's a guy here who used to be a ref for ECW. His wrestling name's AT Huck. So Huck booked Phil and Rollins and Brian Danielson and what's Colt Cabana, and he bring these guys from wherever they were from and work all these matches and pay them stupid amounts of money and yada yada yada. And Cabana was real cool and talkative and jokey, and Rollins is just he didn't look like much. I didn't think much about the guy when I saw him. No big deal. He was just kind of there. Brian Danielson was just kind of there. But Phil, he would walk around the ring, around the room talking shit. And Necro Butcher used to shut the fuck up, Phil. Shut up. You're not shit. You're not signed. You're not getting signed. Stop talking shit. I didn't know these guys. I knew Necro, but I didn't, whatever. I didn't pay any mind. So he was walking around fucking with people. So when this guy walked up on me, he walked up on me like with his shoulders hunched, look at him, doing this. Like he was going to shoot. And I'm like, dude, you have never wrestled a day in your life because that is not wrestling form. That is not judo. That is not jujitsu. That's not the grappling form of capoeira. That's not Greco-Roman. That's not any of the Native American wrestling forms. That's none of the Nigerian wrestling forms. He was just hunched in doing this. And I knew he had a beef with Tony Atlas because he thought muscle guys didn't belong and blah, blah. I didn't give a shit about none of that. Because I looked at him and said, "What's up, man? What's going on?" Because I'm standing ringside waiting to get in the ring to work out in LA. And he's doing this. And I said, well, he's walking closer. And some lady is watching. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So, what's up, man? What's up? So he start like hunching down. And I'm thinking, is this dude high? Wrestling is full, full of junkies. Full of junkies. So I'm like, is this dude high? What's going on? So I shifted my foot so I could just give him a side kick. And he saw me shift my foot and shift my body weight. And I think at that time he knew I was a real fighter. And he's like, he just shook his head like nothing and just walked off. Now, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Then you hear all these subsequent stories of him being a locker room shithead. It didn't start with AEW. Now, the strange thing is, when I met Brock Lesnar, Brock was non-social, but Brock was cool as shit. I met Brock Lesnar at his first premiere night. The Dudleys, fucking, well, Devon was cool. Bubba Ray is a shithead. He's a horrible human being. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were walking by. We were here in Detroit talking, setting up our second night match. So we're sitting there talking with Adam. It was Adam and I forget who else we were talking to. So Adam hops up. He said, "Hey Kevin, these guys from Detroit, because Kevin Nash is legit from Lincoln Park, somewhere downriver." And Kevin was like, "So I don't give a fuck." He was like, "Damn, I just thought you would speak to local Detroiters." So Hulk Hogan stood. He was sure he was like, "Hey brother, don't pay them any attention. Hey, I'm Hulk Hogan." He shook our hands. I'm like, Hulk Hogan shook my Hulk Hogan shook my hand. Man, I was like, I know I know who you are. Wow. I didn't want to wash my fucking hand. Hulk Hogan came up and shook my hand. He was like, "Don't pay any attention to those guys. They're just blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, shit, Hulk Hogan shook my hand. Man, I don't care what they say about Hulk. Hulk is forever a good guy in my eye. I might exaggerate the shit out of some stories from yesteryear. You could tell that he's saying some shit that didn't go down like that because they didn't. But whatever. Hulk Hogan, the thing that Hulk Hogan, I can say about Hogan is that Terry Bollea and Hulk Hogan are the same. You don't get the good guy when the camera's on, then a piece of shit when the camera's off. But the Undertaker's like that. Man, the Undertaker's cool as shit. You ever see Counting Cars? The 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 It's a TV show takes place in Las Vegas, and this guy calls him the Count. He's like a mechanic. He's always fixes up these really nice old classic cars. You ever see a TV show?
No.
Oh well, if you ever watch it, legit with the mascara off, the hat off, without talking like this. That's what Undertaker acts like. He cool as shit. I mean, cool as a breeze, man. Um, um, yeah, man. We met some legendary folks. The Undertaker is cool. All right. So I was saying some of these guys are legit, really, really nice. Like the Iron Sheik, rest in peace. Iron Sheik was really nice, but he was a fucking junkie. You know, God, he was a junkie. New Jack, really nice. I mean, me and Jerome were cool, like in real life cool. Jerome was a cokehead. So, that's one thing you just gotta accept. And I'm saying this to you, older dude to younger dude. You stick around this business, what's gonna happen is you're gonna meet some people who are shitheads, and you're gonna look up and like, how is this bastard in AEW, WWE, going to Japan. You'll look up, you'll see some really nice guys. And then the nice guys will be playing the heels and the shitheads will be the faces. And you'll be telling folks like that dude really is an asshole. And people will be telling you, no, you don't know him, blah, blah, blah. You're like, yeah, I do. I've dealt with him. He wasn't nice. And that's the awkward part about this because the WWE or WCW or whatever media machine gets behind somebody, and you want to believe everything they tell you because you want to believe in this hero, but come to find out the heroes ain't so heroic sometimes.
Yeah. How did you guys get to like Adobe tryout or how that come into play?
Um, Back in the day, you would just send your video in, and they first you had to be big enough. Now things are different now. So now if you are just something to look at, they don't care if you're under a certain height and weight. If you were under 6 feet tall, you had to either be able to move like Spider-Man. You still had to have some size. You had to be able to move like Spider-Man, risk killing yourself like the Hardys. And the Hardys ain't under 6 feet tall. Those dudes are tall. They're big. A lot of people think like the Hardys, the Usos, these guys, oh, they look small. No, they're big. Like if you saw them in person, these guys, they're not small men. They're just there in the ring next to much bigger people. But so we sent it in and they gave me a call and they said, come down. And 7 days before my oldest son's birthday, it was June 5th, 2000. It was our first dart match. And we thought we were gonna get signed, but yeah, we heard some really horrible things that night from the WWE. Well, a guy named Jack Lanza, he was a real piece of shit, which whatever, man. So we just pressed on and kept at it and tried to get signed. But it just never happened. It just wasn't meant to be.
When did you and your brother start teaming like right away, or did you guys start out separately?
Yeah, from the very beginning. Yeah, we were a tag team from the very, very start. Yeah, we wrestled a couple singles matches because they needed us to. There were times like in the indies, and there are times you show up and be like, okay, well, where's the show? And you like you standing there with 5 other dudes and like, well, everybody knows shoulders. And like we went to we had to wrestle in God, where was that? Somewhere in northern Indiana. And only 5 people showed up. So they had one guy, he wrestled, and then he put on a mask and wrestled. They had Chuck and I mean, we didn't tag. We tagged and that turned into we did a tag match and we it was an impromptu. So we got on the microphone, blah blah blah. We beat you separate. We'll beat you together. Blah blah blah. So that turned into 2 singles matches, and then you had the main match, and the guy ran in, and that turned into a multiple brawl, and that became a 5-way brawl with my brother and I staying away from each other. So yeah, yeah, we tagged from the very beginning. We didn't wrestle consistently singles till I left. Till I left for Los Angeles in early 2009. But yeah, and I wasn't gone a whole year. LA is a horrible place to live in. Lovely place to visit, horrible place to stay.
Have you ever, or would you like to wrestle Chuck one on one?
No, I mean we grew up wrestling each other. Shit, people looked at us and said, "How do you know the move so well?" Because my brother and I. You ever have a card game called Tunk? Tunk?
No.
So we would play Tunk, and whoever lost, the other got to put a wrestling move of their choice for 10 seconds. So arm bars, camel clutches, figure four, uh, Boston crabs, reverse Boston crabs. We couldn't do the moves, but we could put the wrestling holds on. And, we've been, hell, as far as it's concerned, we've been wrestling with each other all of our lives. And then we had both been trained in different like boxing, different martial karate, taekwondo, this, that. So putting stuff on each other we knew how to not hurt each other, but sinking the moves in, we did it to each other. So the idea of getting in the ring and doing it, no. Now we trained against each other and he's stiff. Fuck him. I ain't wrestling him. And you tell him I said, fuck him. I'll call him right now. but but no, he's stiff. Fucker. Fucker.
I'm sure he's
That
somewhere
was
watching this.
hmm?
I'm sure he's somewhere watching this.
Yeah, well, look, like I said, I'll call and tell him to watch it because a couple times we trained together. He stepped the shot at me. I'm like, man, the hell is your problem? Why are you hitting people this hard? But I hear he's gotten better, but I've not been on the. He busted my eye once. This bastard. So we had a tag team match, and we were working. We were booked by Dave St. Ides, and no, where we was it Dave? Well, we were somewhere. I want to say Milan, Michigan, or something. It was in a gym. It was a high school gym. One of those, you know how those rural high schools, the gym schools are giant, and the gym was huge. So the gym could hold like 1,000 people. There was maybe like 600, 700 people there. And Chuck grabbed a chair. He's in the ring. This and that, and this. And he cocked back like threatening to hit the other guy. I'll hit you. Ow. I'm like, we're tagging, right? I'm in the corner. I'm just in the corner waiting for him to start the match. So he had a chair and he cocked back, pretending like he was gonna hit the other guy, and clocked me right in my eye, and it just split and blood went everywhere. And I'm like, you bastard! What happened to you? You hit me with a chair. I hit you with a chair, motherfucker! Hit me with a chair. And the fans are like, hit your fucking brother with a chair. Like, man, so I was mad. I'm standing there holding my eye. I was mad as shit. You gonna tag? Fuck you. Stay in the ring. I'm blowing up. You stay in the ring. So I refused to get in the ring till my eye stopped. So, so a lady on ringside, he gave me some paper towel, and I'm standing there with my eye. He's in the ring, basically wrestling by his damn self against a tag team. So I finally get my eye to stop bleeding and clean myself up. Somebody gave me a little bottled water, so I managed to get the blood off as best I can, which was not hygienic when I look back on it. And then I tagged in after about 12 minutes, but fucking hit me out with a chair. And to this day, man, I didn't mean to. Well, you busted my eye, fucker. But whatever.
Um,
Who's your favorite, man? Who's your favorite wrestler?
of all time,
Yep.
Undertaker.
Yeah. I think he's everybody's favorite. I really do. Who's your least favorite? The one you look at and say, why are they paying this guy? He's overrated. The one person you just can't just like, eh.
I can't think of one.
Yeah. For me, it's Shawn Michaels. God, I can't stand Shawn Michaels. Got any more questions for me?
If you decide to like retire from in-ring competition, or when you do you think you're going to transition to like a manager type role or like rep,
Well,
trainer?
that's kind of what my retirement match was last December. But in the vein of Ric Flair, you only stay retired so long. So I like being an in-ring talent, like being a dirty ref. And I have a couple more matches in me. But basically, if I can't have fun, hey, you got guys like Sless and Father Marquise, you know, uh, Johnny Go. Those guys, they can get in the ring. It's their time to shine. I don't need to be in the ring trying to because I'm not jumping off stuff like I used to. I'm not going to bump like I used to. I'm just not. And it's not that I can't. I'm still in good shape. I just don't feel like it mentally. So, of course, we started promoting. Um, I promoted with NWCW for a while, and I stopped for a couple months last year, and now I'm back. But I'm not going to be a manager at all because I'm not a mouthpiece. I'm not the guy who's going to get in front of the crowd and woo the crowd at all. Because at first I mess around and cuss, but yeah, I'm liking being an in-ring talent and just mostly promoting.
Yeah, talking about you special refing back at Winter Mania when you're special ref for that ti world title match between Onyx and Brutus. Remember, I think it was Brutus going for the cover. You counted two and then told him to ring the bell.
Yeah.
I remember right after that, the crowd like didn't know what was going on, and when you said that Onyx retained because Brutus won by DQ, everyone started booing.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? When I remember a short while ago, I told you that the old school stuff works. The in style, the in ring stuff is different, but the gimmicks never change. If you're the good guy, if you're Maverick and you're the good guy, you're the baby face, everybody cheers for you. They're not necessarily gonna boo me just because I'm wrestling you. I got to do some dirty shit. So I gotta give people a reason to hate me. The same reason Chuck Chuck beat up Santa Claus and people are like, oh, this bastard. He just beat up Santa, you know. Um, um, I gotta be a heel. So and the only way you're gonna hate me is if I make you hate me. So, if I just walk out in front of you, I'm just a dude walking out in front of you. I walk out in front of you and I wave a flag and say, you know what? I believe in the young people in this country, the greatest country in the world, and no matter what our difficulties are, we can overcome. People will say, "Oh, he's a patriot." Yeah, they want to rally behind that good feeling. If I come out and say, "I want to believe in the young people," but all of you are stupid, then they're gonna be like, "What the hell? This guy's an asshole." And by saying that, just saying that, not taking 50 bumps, not not doing 100 moves, but just that one line, and people know right there, I don't like him. So they're gonna boo you. And that's the point of the heel is to get the boos.
Well, that's all I had for you. But if there's anyone watching that wants to become that's like an up and coming wrestler, like they're training, what advice would you give to them?
Um, watch Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. Watch Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. Um, don't grow an ego. Do the goddamn job. Tell a story. Um, are you familiar with Arn Anderson? You watch AEW?
Sometimes. But I know
Do you
who
know
Arn
he's
Anderson is.
okay? So yeah, so if you just Google Arn and Tully, they were two of the horsemen. And Arn and Tully, man, these guys could go out. If you gave them 4 minutes or 40 minutes, they'd go out. They could put you over and still look dominant. They could put you over, get the shit beat out of them the whole match, and still look dominant, like they controlled the match and they were about to win. They're storytellers. They could work with anybody. And Arn Anderson can out wrestle most anybody, but it wasn't about the moves. It was about telling the story with what he had to do. Um, don't have an ego. I don't want to lose. This shit is nuts. If you don't want to, if you really want to have a win-loss record to brag about, go in MMA, go in professional fighting, go into boxing, go into Muay Thai, go into kickboxing. That's a record you have to brag about. This is entertainment, and you're going to lose, you're going to win, and people have to get over that and work out, work out, work out, work out. You need to work out if you want to make some money in the business. You have to look the part. You don't have to go become a tough guy and be able to legit beat up two or three people at one time, but you do have to work out and look good. That's the difference. You're not going to the WWE and seeing people who are horribly out of shape. Even the people that aren't in great shape, they don't look like beach bodies. These people are massive. Like the big Viking Raider guy, I forgot his name. Otis. These dudes are massive. These are 300 plus pound dudes, 350-pound men. Now we met. Now my question to you is this: Did I look big? when we met? Did I look big to you?
Yes.
Did I look real big?
Not real big, but like big.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mean massive, but like football player big, professional football player big.
Kind of.
Oh, okay, maybe you can't gauge. But I'm 260 pounds. So by the time you think if I'm 260 and you met me, when I'm telling you a guy is 300 to 340 pounds, they're fucking huge. They may not be 6'5", some of them might be 5'10", but they're huge. So if you get in the ring and you're facing off with Otis, who's 310 pounds, 350 pounds heavier than me, legit, you gotta look like you could feasibly do something to hurt this man. You just can't step in it. Orange Cassidy would never be across the WWE ring against Otis because it doesn't look feasible, doesn't look real. So that's what I'm saying. Work out, work out, work out, work out. You ain't got to be Road Warrior Hulk, but you still got to be in shape. And you know, entertain the crowd. Don't worry about getting all your shit in. Tell the story. So like for example, what you just said about me and the reffing thing, where I cheated Brutus out of winning. Um, that's telling the story. Yeah, I could have gotten in the middle and done 20, 30 different moves. It told the story more that I screwed people over. I'm poking people in the eye. I'm pushing people around. I'm being rude. I'm being pretentious. I'm being an asshole with my megaphone. That tells a story. That's more important. The fans want to be entertained. If they can just turn on, they could literally turn on wrestling from Germany or India just to see moves because the average American can't speak German. The average, not saying nobody, but the average American can't speak Hindi, so you're not going to understand what they're saying. So you can just see the moves. It's not the moves that entertain people; it's the stories. And that's my advice to young wrestlers. Are you going to get trained?
Due to health reasons, I cannot.
Oh man, would you want to get trained?
If I could, yes.
Oh well, what are you, 17, 18 years old?
17.
That's first step. A little bit of exercise. Just build your strength. A little bit of exercise, build your strength. And when you are in a position, when you're in a position where you're feeling stronger, feeling better, then you do it. You just don't go jumping off any damn lesson.
So don't be Jeff Hardy. Got it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And, hey man, I told Adam Copeland 9 months before he tore his back up. It was like Adam, because Adam's legit 6'4". I said, Adam, you're too tall, man. I said, dude, you wrestling like a dude 6 inches shorter. It's like, man, you're too tall, you're heavy. I'm like, dude, you 6'4", you 200 pounds. Stop jumping off stuff. All right, man, I know, but I, blah, 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 blah. And it's not that the WWE said he had to. He's just like, well, that's the style I work. I'm like, Adam, because at the time, he's a year younger. I'm like, Adam, I'm 40. It's like, so we're almost 40. I was like 37, 38. So you're getting too old for it. And he wasn't listening and he hurt himself.
All right, that's all I had for you. Thank you for coming on the show.
All right, man. Take care.
You too. Hey, if you enjoyed that episode of Outside the Ring, I recommend you click up here where his finger is pointing to never miss another episode and to subscribe. And then down here, you can watch other Outside the Ring content. Thank you, and have a good one. Peace.